Apparently too big.
I don't think it is.
I don't know.
I
did. There's nothing but one on here. I haven't. Because I need a protein.
I got some protein for you. All of that. No.
Funny thing is, the latest well,
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So on Schoology, there's a worksheet or a document that has a picture of the diagram of how a bill becomes law and some questions. So I'm gonna go over, it's just a couple slides because I want to make sure that we have time for the activity we do. But I'm gonna go over the process of that and then give you guys a couple minutes to answer those questions. With the document, and we'll have it up there and we can talk about it. But really, we want to look at why it's important to know the process of how a bill becomes a law, because it's not just something that is done by people in the Congress and it's in the House. It's something that if you have an idea, you can bring that up and get that process going. So outlook of what we're doing, we'll do this little PowerPoint intro. We'll go over the questions that are on Schoology. Then we'll do the create your own bill activity, and then we'll just have a quick 2-question exit ticket, and that will be it. If we have time, I'll show the cheesy Schoolhouse Rock video, but we'll see. Okay, so how it starts is the bill getting introduced, and typically it's just someone has an idea and they say, I think this should be a law. So they take it to the person they need to take it to, and it goes from there. And it's a long, long process, and most of the time the bill doesn't make it very far. So it can be introduced in either the House or the Senate, and most of the time, if it has to do with money, then it is it's introduced in the House. After it's in the House, then it goes to the committee process, and this is the long process that most of the time the bill doesn't make it there or even make it out of it. So it's really the editing process of the whole bill. So the bill gets proposed, and then a bunch of people are looking at it, coming up with suggestions, coming up with different wording of how it should be worded to make it make sense. And if it gets passed to the full House, then it goes to the Senate from there. And like I said, a lot of the times it's not making it out of here. This is where the bill will typically die. Then it will go to the floor, and this is where the bill's read and debated with the House or Senate. So this is the big part where they start basically arguing about if this thing should pass and have a chance to be a law. And again, it's a process that many of them don't make it to. So if it's in the Senate or it's passed in the House, then the bill goes and it starts the same process from the start in the Senate, and same the other way. So if it's passed in the Senate, then it goes to the House and starts the process that way. So very, very long process to get this thing to even potentially become a law. Then it goes to the conference committee after it's gone through the House, gone through the Senate. It goes to the conference committee. So the conference committee, they basically find the middle ground of what the House wanted it to be and what the Senate wanted it to be, and they kind of find that and find the middle ground, and then they send it back and vote again. So a lot of editing, voting, send it back, editing, voting, send it back until if it's lucky enough to get passed to the next part, which is the final approval. So if they both finally agree and they say, okay, we both voted through, then it goes to the president. And the president has three options. They can either veto it, which means it ends there. They can sign the bill, which then it means it becomes a law, or pocket veto. And pocket veto is typically done with something more that can cause some issues if they sign it or veto it, so they'll just let it sit there. And after 10 days, then it just is vetoed on its own without anyone officially vetoing it. And then Congress can overturn a veto, but it's a 2/3 vote with the House and the Senate, so something that is difficult to do. Okay, that's, like I said, it was real short because I want to have time to go through this create your own build a law activity. Because I think it's something engaging and you guys can have some fun with it. So finish filling those out. We can talk about them. We can go through them. I'll put up the diagram because I think the diagram's helpful as well, just to look at the whole process of what it looks like. Oh, and don't do number 8 on the last one, or on the question part. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes. If you want to work with the person next to you, talk about it. If you have questions, let me know. I'm more than happy. Just take a couple minutes and we'll go through that, and we'll get started on the activity.
Yeah. Thanks.
3 and 4 are kind of similar, but.
No.
And when you get it done, I think there is a spot on Schoology that you can turn that into. are we doing on this? You're down close to. Feel like we need to go over it, would that help? Or you guys good? You're good? Good, okay. All right, we'll move on to the activity now. So what we're gonna do, you guys are gonna go by your rows, so you'll be in 6 rows. And on here, as a group, you guys are gonna create a proposal for a bill, and it can be anything. I use the example. In third hour that when, I don't know if you guys still, I think you guys still go to Springfield, Park in 7th grade. But when I went, we were walking through and they were arguing about what they thought the state pie should be. So it doesn't have to be something super serious, like it can be kind of silly, like third hour had, they should ban the Mr. Rit in the cafeteria. So it doesn't, have fun with it, but still understand the reasoning of why we're doing this. So you're with your row, you'll just answer question 1 and 2, and then we'll go through there.
Oh, no, inside really all about what you president.
So group up, make sure it's appropriate for school. Group up, talk about it. I'll give you guys a few minutes to discuss. I'm here to help if you need one. Yep. Circle up, make room move, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And remember, real quick, at the end of this, you're gonna vote on what you want to pass. So you want to make sure that other people are going to want to vote for it.
Like the animal? I get it.
We can all see. That's my. That would be. I'm all of the house in the sociality.
All right.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
You just get the food.
Yeah.
I'll get those phones.
I've had.
Technically, this is years when it's hidden.
Be creative with it.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be right.
Yeah, you propose. Yours, got them.
I can't do that.
You're gonna think you're gonna do it no matter what.
We must be represented by code and I feel like that last.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Hereby, we give the
It is very nice.
I'm gonna say you put Z and then criminalization. CRIMINalization. Decriminalization. Sound it out.
Just do 1 and 2. We're gonna switch on 3. So just do question 1 and 2.
Don't say because I don't want to say.
How big your family?
Just 1 and 2. You're gonna switch. Someone else is gonna just do 1 and 2.
So we get.
I'm not doing this. You guys are writing the second one. Evan, you guys get writing the second one.
I don't think that's gonna. Yeah, but if they grew up in that, one should go away on. Don't cut it though.
Okay, start the minutes wrapping up. Yeah, everybody's.
Yeah, so you have to feed it, you like everybody.
Okay, when you're done with question 2, so Connor, you guys will switch with this group. These 2 groups will swap, and then the last 2 groups will swap. So 3 says to recommend at least 1 change. So 1 change that can make it better, 1 that you think they could take out. Anything along the line of that.
Yes.
My name's Jackie Barrett and I approve this.
Yeah.
Oh, they can't everything.
This is why I want to write it.
I didn't know we'd have to share.
Yeah, good saying out loud too.
I don't want to just do it.
Okay, we here propose the utilization of the private and public ocean, all of that and the. I'll do it for there, I don't like, business, and why, I want to pet back.
Don't want to pet back.
You know how many times you play video games? I should play basketball for my team. That was. So is Kentucky, but they're in.
They revise the bill, beat the bill.
Yeah.
How about, no, very free time.
Yeah.
What if you disagree?
What did they put?
What's the change in the?
I am the president, I veto the bill.
My name is Joe. been in and out and out, approve this note.
Yeah.
Then you guys, it says it's still under something, so you can. still-
Yeah, we can eliminate.
They don't have to.
Well, I can eliminate filters.
You can suggest a different color, you can just take out yellow.
Oh, that's fine. Yellow is a forward.
We can either eliminate it and change it to something else.
Like, the only way to like, stay, so that means if you put yellow, sure,
You said you found it class and the
So
Y.
again, you can change
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
they don't have to. You don't like it, go to whatever color you want.
Yeah. We have a state color on our state color, it's also on Lincoln that on there. Why do you even need filters? I'm only giving it a color when we want you. What are we doing?
Can we give it back? After we do that, please?
Just do 3. When you're done with 3, you can trade it back.
You can only tell it down.
For 5.
You don't want to read that.
We didn't even put the banner, you might add it.
You get your paper back, then you can start answering questions. Okay? Okay, listen up real quick. Listen up real quick. When you get your paper back, you'll just answer question 4. And then we're gonna, out loud, we're gonna talk about what your final draft is. So answer the final draft. Again, you don't have to take what the other group just suggested. So just write what you think would be helpful, you think you get to vote, and then we'll vote. Okay? It'll take about 5 minutes or so to do that.
I understand that because.
All of this. Oh, yeah. You're reading.
Oh, yeah. You mean you're right.
Everybody just sits here.
We don't have to take anything. Listen to me and like. Like if someone.
Yeah, you do. Is it a rectangular one? No.
We get two. One of them doesn't. So you guys say sounds good, but. Well, no, it's like.
Yeah, once you guys have your final draft.
Yeah.
Your final.
Your final draft.
Will everybody have a final draft? Are we good? Okay, here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start with Connor over there. Connor's gonna read the original one and why they thought it was important. Listen up. And then you're gonna say any suggestions that you thought were good and then read your final one.
Ours is to shorten the school day to 1 p.m. Because students will be more successful, will be more focused. And then they suggested it should be at 1:45 for the option.
Okay, so you stuck with your original one, okay, this group, go ahead.
said we should get $3 grand in school cafeteria. And then we said, we're paying for an entire meal, so why can't we have $3 for our 50-cent fries? And we said other condiments are free, why can't ranch be? And they suggested make ranch free with certain meals that ranch normally is on. He said ranch should be free with certain meals, and depending if they get fries or not. Also, if we're paying for the ranch, we should get better ranch, not gluten free.
Alright,
Okay, we said that the Illinois state colors should be yellow and green, because Illinois does not have set colors, and we state is more unified and represented by colors. They said to change the color yellow, and we decided not to. Because it's corn and wheat.
alright,
We said students should be able to carry non-clear water bottles to school. And they said that the contents of their bottle must be checked with the box. We said they should only check.
We said you get to have your phone during class, and we also said you have, when you have free time, you have something to do. They're just like sitting and doing nothing. And then they suggested that you get to have your phone and the Wi-Fi password during class. And stuff like that.
and start with just being able to have your phone in class, but you can only use it if you're not doing anything. Alright, last group.
Okay. We hereby propose the entire decriminalization of the private and public ownership of all exotic animals in the entire United States, as well as abolishing PETA.
And what did the committee say?
The committee says that we need to keep them in a safe environment, and then it'll be good.
So that's what you went with?
Yeah, and the original.
Okay. Alright, so on Schoology, there's a form, you might have to refresh it. And there is voting, yes or no, if each one should pass. So for it to pass, it has to be majority, so we'll go through and I'll post the results once they're voted on. So the same folder as the original document is, there's a form with all the questions. So go ahead and answer those real quick and we'll check on the results.
I've been on that.
And then there's no PETA, it means you don't get votes. People from the ethical treatment of animals. It's, 13.
Yeah, I feel like the euthanize much of
The 13 is good.
I already know.
Dude.
Wait, where's the vote?
I used to wear stuff until June.
Yes.
Threw away stuff. Wow.
There's 22, so once everyone's respond, I'll show the results.
Don't bring it in.
That's not 39%. And the show? Nobody's waiting for it. If I wanted to green up, I was over to John Deere. I ain't gonna wait for him.
All right, has everybody voted? All right. Here are the results. I cannot believe the exotic animal one passed.
Yes. Let's go, pass.
That's good.
Go there now.
Phones allowed in class passed. I think they all passed.
Oh,
No.
Yes. State color did not.
State color did not. And we're getting free ranch at lunch, and we're getting out at 1 o'clock.
Alright, send it to the powers that be.
Okay, got a couple minutes, or I think we have like 2 minutes left, so here's what we're gonna do. To wrap up, you guys can either, if you have a scrap piece of paper, you can write it on there, write it on your iPad. Oh, I'll collect those. Make sure everybody's name's on it. Oh, answer the last question, I'm way ahead of myself. Answer 5 and 6 together, sorry. And if it passes, and it says why, this is something that you thought was good about it, that helped it pass.
Everybody wants to start again. You ever take them? Whoa.
When you're done, go ahead and pass it forward, and I'll collect it.
Go to the,
We're out of those.
go see your house.
First they got the
You want this, right? No.
So then I can always see it on the internet.
Evan,
why did you?
Hey, Dad. Hey, so, it's like looking at the mountain parent. It's like they reach the flame.
Where's the laugh at?
You know, it's like, it's in my head.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was better than we may take forward. I don't know. Well, I don't know, they all are playing for the president. It goes, not like. Like this. It's just like this. And when it goes, transfer to this.
You were born.
All right, listen up. Next time I run you, you have a scrap piece of paper, that's fine. If you wanna do it on your iPad and, turn it in that way, that's fine. Just a quick little exit ticket. There's 2 questions. The first one is, why do you think the process of a bill becoming a law is so complex? Why do you think the process of a bill becoming a law is so complex? Second question is, what are the 3 things the president can do when they get the bill?
What do you want us to turn it into? To the same spot?
Yeah.
Or is there a separate spot for it?
I didn't make one. If you can do that.
I think it's the same, I think it's the same spot.
Yeah, then go ahead and do that. And if you have it on, or yeah, I guess take pictures of it.
Where we at?
Same one. While you guys are finishing up, I'm gonna show the cheesy Schoolhouse Rock video.
Get the Capitol building here in Washington. But I wonder who that Santa's got for paper is.
I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee, but I know I'll be a law someday. I hope and pray that I will, but today I am still just a bill.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. When I started, I wasn't even a bill. I was just an idea. The folks back home decided they wanted a law passed, so they called their local congressman, and he said, "You're right, there ought to be a law." And he sat down and wrote me out and introduced me to Congress, and I became a bill. And I'll remain a bill until they decide to make me a law. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I got as far as Capitol Hill. Well, now I'm stuck in committee and I'll sit here and wait while a few key congressmen discuss and debate whether they should let me be a law. Hope and pray that they will, but today I'm still just a bill.
There's all that discussion and debate about you.
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. Most bills never even get this far. I hope they decide to report on me favorably, otherwise I may die.
Die.
Yeah, die in committee. Oh, but it looks like I'm going to live. Now I go to the House of Representatives and they vote on me.
If they vote yes, what happens?
Then I go to the Senate and the whole thing starts all over again.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And if they vote for me on Capitol Hill, well, then I'm off to the White House where I waited online with a lot of other bills for the president to sign. And if he signs me, then I'll be a law. Hope and pray that he will. But today I'm still just a bill.
You mean even if the whole Congress says you should be a law, the president can still say no?
Yes, that's called a veto. If the president vetoes me, I have to go back to Congress and they vote on me again, and by that time it's over.
By that time, it's very unlikely that you become a law. It's not easy to become a law, is it?
No, but how I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill. He signed the bill. Now you're a law. Oh, yeah.
All right, classic Saturday morning breakfast. But all right, that's all I have for you guys. Got a couple minutes left.
Can you not tell me this is like your